We'll do it live! Fuck it!
I'm Liz.
This is Surly Amy from Skepchick.org.
I'm Keith from Sydney, Australia.
Hello, I'm Daryl Ray, author of Sex and God and The God Virus.
This is Rebecca Watson of Skepchick.org.
I'm Vivian Wheeler from Planned Parenthood.
I am Devin Napoli from Planned Parenthood.
I am Richard Carrier.
I am Monette Richards from Secular Woman.
I am Stephen Olson from Carl Sagan's Dance Party.
I'm JT Eberhard, and I'm a he-thinker who loves the she-thinkers.
I'm Debbie Goddard. I'm from the Center for Inquiry and African Americans for Humanism, and I'm a human thinker.
I'm a Faisal, and I'm a he-thinker, she-thinker, they-thinker, it-thinker.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Fitzgerald, and oh yes, I am a she-thinker.
Hello, and welcome to Secular She-Thinkers, where secular girls geek out and justifiably rage about the week's news.
And drink.
I'm your host, Dory, joined by my co-host, the Dirty Nerdy.
Hi.
Tonight's scheduled topic of non-monogamy with Daryl Ray, author of Sex and God and the God Virus, is being rescheduled due to our fabulous weather we've been having.
Yeah, you know what? I almost died on the way here, so you guys better be glad I'm
Better be grateful.
Be grateful, damn it.
So, tonight's new topic is safer sex. We also have bosses, trolls, a stupid sexist Christmas song, and much more. But first, a word from our sponsor. She-Thinkers is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/She-Thinkers. Audible has over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For every fan who signs up for a free trial, She-Thinkers gets $15. It's a great way to help us pay for the podcast, even if you don't have a lot of money. Again, go to audibletrial.com/She-Thinkers to download any free audiobook of your choice. That's SHETHINKERS, She-Thinkers.
I love that you do jazz hands.
I always do.
But
How can you not?
We're a radio show. No one can see you.
They can hear it in my voice.
I just want to put it out there that, if you're grateful for Dirty Nerdy almost dying to get here, you should sign up for this Audible thing. Yeah.
For real.
That would show your gratitude. Okay.
So, want to deal with some trolls?
I guess so. That's what I do after near-death experiences. So let's do this.
Rip into trolls.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one is about an Israeli mom who's being fined $149 a day for every day that she refuses to get her son circumcised.
Hooray.
Wow.
How dare you not mutilate your child?
Yeah, well, apparently in Israel, they don't necessarily have to get their children circumcised. It's basically sort of like a custody issue that's going on, it seems like, where the father wants the boy to be circumcised and the mom doesn't, and so they took it to the Israeli rabbinical court, and they were like, hey, you have to pay this fine every day that he's not circumcised.
Why is there even a rabbinical court?
Because it's Israel?
I guess.
I don't know enough about their politics, but I know that this is bullshit.
It sounds like if someone was like, oh, I had to take my kid to Christian court, I'd be like, what?
Apparently what happened, according to the mom, was that the baby was born with a medical problem, and they weren't able to circumcise, during the time that they normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And in between that time and when it came time to do the circumcision, she read a lot about what actually happens during circumcision and decided that she didn't want to do that to her son. And she said,
what a concept.
She said, he's perfect just as he is. But her husband apparently started contemplating divorce and insisted on a circumcision. They went to a panel, so they took it to a panel of 3 rabbis. And they say that the rabbi said that it's a standard surgical procedure that's performed on every Jewish baby boy. So when one of the parents demands it, the other cannot delay it, except where it is proven to be medically dangerous. How about just medically unnecessary?
Right.
I don't really care if something is a standard surgical procedure. I mean, removing wisdom teeth is a standard surgical procedure.
But you wouldn't get a court order to make someone do it.
Not if they don't need it, I guess. It's like, if it's not necessary, then I don't care how standard it is. LASIK eye surgery is a standard surgical procedure, but I don't want LASIK eye surgery.
Fucking lasers.
Fucking lasers, man. Because as far as I know, I don't need it. Well, I know I need glasses, but lasers scare me.
Yeah. I just think it's insane that all this over a baby's penis, like considering divorce and having to go to court and all of this over a baby's genitalia is just insane to me.
I don't think it doesn't say here. The stuff I've read, it hasn't said specifically that the contemplating divorce was because of the circumcision thing. It was more like they started contemplating divorce and then this came out.
Oh yeah.
And you know,
well, that's how divorce always is. There's something that breaks the camel's back.
And well, you know, anytime you have divorce proceedings, well, not anytime, but a lot of the time, things that normally two people could probably work out amicably together, it suddenly becomes a battleground. Like everything becomes a little battle. And I just hope that they eventually do the right thing and don't force the mother to pay this and
crazy ass fine.
Yeah. And they allow the boy to grow up and decide on his own,
right,
what he wants to do.
I don't know why that's not the standard anyway.
I don't know.
Why don't you let your kid decide if they want part of their penis removed?
What's funny is that you can get circumcised later in life.
Yep.
But men who aren't circumcised as a baby almost overwhelmingly don't do it. Don't choose to do it later in life.
Why would you?
I don't know. Yeah, so...
It's the same thing with female circumcision. Both of them just seem horrific to me, and I don't know why you would force that on your child before they can...
Well, female circumcision is often even more...
It's even worse because it's underground, just like abortion that's underground is 10 times worse.
Well, they also tend... it ranges, but...
Yeah.
A lot of the time they tend to take off more than just...
Than just the hood.
Yeah.
A lot more.
But that's a topic for another night.
Yep.
Next one is, oh god, there's so many ones on bodily autonomy. I think all of ours are.
Practically, yeah.
All of our trolls are just violating people's bodies and stealing children, apparently. This one was in the UK, I want to say.
This one's terrifying.
Yeah, an Italian mother flew to England for a training course of some sort. I don't know. She had a panic attack, and because she couldn't find the passports for her daughters, so she called the police, and the police asked to speak to the grandmother who had the $2, and the grandmother explained that she was overexcited because she had a bipolar condition and hadn't been taking her medication. Police told the mother that they were going to take her to the hospital to make sure the baby is okay because she was pregnant. And she got to the hospital, and they had taken her to a psychiatric hospital. So she said she wanted to go back to her hotel. She was restrained and basically sectioned there under some sort of mental health act in the UK. Then social services got involved, and I don't know, it just kept going downhill. It's really bad. It ended up culminating in a forced C-section as soon as the baby was viable, and now they won't give the baby back.
So you get a forced C-section and your baby's stolen from you.
They're like...
All because of mental stigma.
Crazy lady's upset that she can't find her passport. Like, what?
I'd be freaking out if I was in a foreign country and couldn't find my children's passport.
She was deemed...
That's panic-worthy.
Oh, God. It's just terrible. The High Court in Rome is really upset about this because she's an Italian citizen.
That's fun.
She's not even a citizen of the UK, and somehow they think they can make this decision. But the judge concluded that since she had not protested at the time, she had to accept the British courts had jurisdiction.
What?
And this is something that happens in the U.S. too. If you get a summons, or if you get basically like served,
yeah,
and if you're not very careful in your response to say, hey, this is the wrong jurisdiction, or hey, I want to change venue, they're two different things, but it's very similar, then it's assumed that you just automatically gave that court jurisdiction, even if it doesn't actually have jurisdiction over you. And since British courts are based off of the same type of common law as ours are, I'm not surprised that they have something similar. But this is just awful. I mean, to just force a C-section on a woman and then take her baby away.
Yeah.
And it all started because she couldn't find passports? Like, what?
Well, and they're discriminating against her because she's not neurotypical.
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin on hating on this. I just have to drink more now.
There's so many angles to hate on.
And the thing is, it's like being forced to get a C-section is actually not
that uncommon.
It's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
Doctors, even like especially
I'm
in the
gonna say,
US,
even if it's not quote unquote forced, your doctors just pretend like it's medically necessary.
They tell you during a time when you're incredibly stressed and tired and obviously not feeling well that this is what's best for you and the baby, and they go ahead and do it. And then later on you find out that, oh, they didn't actually have to do that.
Yeah, it's just coerced consent, really, when you get right down to it.
And every woman's experience with C-section and birth and everything is different, so it really depends on the woman. But for some people, C-section is actually, it's worse than giving vaginal birth. So, yeah, this is just horrific. I can't imagine how I would feel in this situation. Absolutely awful.
All right, our next troll is Fox News.
When are they not a troll?
I know. They're one of our
Fox News?
constant troll. Oh, you might want to update your script.
Do I have to refresh this?
Yes.
Damn it. Sorry, guys.
Updating the show notes on the fly.
Yay, show notes. I mean, I'm not prepared. That's not what I am.
Okay, so this next one is hilarious because it points out just how Fox takes a perfectly normal story and then spins it into, in this case, a war on Christmas catastrophe.
War on Christmas!
So this Fox News contributor basically took a story where there used to be a bulletin board full of Christmas cards that the teachers gave to each other, and it was out in the hallway. Well, it was moved into the teacher's lounge because one of the teachers had personal information in one of her cards and didn't want that out in the hallway where people could find it. Perfectly reasonable, to just move it into the teacher's lounge where students can't get access to it.
Yeah.
But the way Fox spun this story was they said, school district confiscating holiday cards.
Yeah, when boys and girls returned from Thanksgiving break, they discovered that their teachers' Christmas cards had been removed under orders from the Georgia Schools Administration. Sounds terrifying, right? Oh my God, the Christmas cards. First they come for the Christmas cards.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I don't want to make that analogy.
They'll make it. Glenn Beck has done that one before.
Yeah, I know they have. Apparently, they got one of the teachers who, I don't know if they spun what they said or if this teacher
is
just
crazy or doesn't understand how the First Amendment works.
Well, this wasn't even a First Amendment thing. Like, that's not the reason why they even moved it.
Oh no, but there's more to this story. I think this same teacher has gotten in trouble for other things in the past.
Okay. Well, the teacher claimed that they took down the cards so the kids can't see them. Some of the cards had the word Christmas, and some had nativity scenes.
Which had nothing to do with why they were moved.
Yes, again, had nothing to do with it.
But yeah, this same school district had just had to explain to their teachers not that long ago that they aren't allowed to have religious messages on their email signatures. They can't have, religious artwork up on their desk. You can't proselytize while being a teacher. That's not okay. But they just had to have this explained to them not that long ago, so...
So the administrators are being kind of boss here for saying, hey, this is the law, and we're going to follow the law. But
yeah, they're pretty dead set on it.
Fox News and some of the teachers that are, all outraged about the war on Christmas are totally trolls about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I didn't even realize we had this as a troll. I just saw it earlier this week.
It's pretty fun, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna say this fourth one you've actually you've looked at this one. I haven't read this one in full. It's the unarmed man charged with wounding bystanders.
Oh my god.
Because
okay.
the cop shot at him.
Holy shit. Where do I go with this? So an unarmed, emotionally disturbed man was shot at by the police in Times Square in September. Now here's the thing, the man said later on in interviews, he said that he was depressed and stuff, and apparently he was lurching into traffic to try to get hit by a car to kill himself. Which I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna throw it out here and be like, this doesn't sound like a case of someone who's like, now correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't sound like the case of someone who's serious about like really wanting to kill themselves. It sounds like someone who doesn't know how else to get help. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there are faster ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really sad case, and he does need help for whatever mental problems he has, which he said, and I can't find the quote now, but he has said that he was depressed at the time and suicidal. So there's that. But he was unarmed, okay. And apparently it grew a crowd, like you do in Times Square.
Like you do.
You're running around in traffic. A crowd is going to start watching you.
Yep.
And the police came through, and they were going to try to subdue him. And then apparently he reached into his pants pocket, and two officers who claimed that they thought he was pulling a gun just opened fire. They missed him and hit two nearby women. And then a police sergeant knocked the man down with a taser. I don't know why they didn't just start with a taser.
Yeah, why did you start with a gun and end with a taser?
Why do you start with the deadly weapon? Start with the taser. If you can't bring him down, just start with the taser.
Right.
Well then, now he's being charged with assault for the injured bystanders.
So the people that the cops shot while shooting at this guy, the people who got in the crossfire, they're charging him with assaulting them. They're claiming it's his fault.
Yes, and here's the thing. This type of thing, it's not completely unheard of, because in the law, if you are committing a felony, and in the course of that felony, somebody dies or somebody is injured, then that is a felony assault. If they die, it can be charged as capital murder here in Texas. I don't know about New York, what their rules are for that. But basically, it's a felony. You are responsible for the people who are assaulted if you are committing a felony. But he hasn't committed a felony. In fact, the only felony he's being charged with is the assault charge. And so I'm wondering just how they're actually legally going to do this. They said he created the situation that injured innocent bystanders. And I'd like to say, no, the cops who pulled their guns created that situation.
Right.
Obviously, he was able to be taken down by a taser. So wouldn't it make more sense to use a taser first rather than a gun?
Yeah, they just escalated when they shouldn't have, and they're trying to pin it on this guy.
So he originally was arrested on misdemeanor charges of menacing, drug possession, and resisting arrest, and now they're putting a felony charge on top of that. Apparently, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office pushed for this. I mean, it just really doesn't make sense. It's almost like they're actually pushing, like really trying to push the Overton window of legal theory and who's responsible, so that the police cannot be held responsible for this type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
were they even suspended? Like, was there any disciplinary action?
I believe they're on administrative duty right now.
Ugh.
So
they're still getting paid.
They're at a desk. They're getting paid. Oh no, they're out of harm's way. Like, I don't see how that's.
The fact that
it's not really a punishment.
The fact that they didn't start with the taser, like the fact that you started with an unarmed man trying to kill him.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be fair here. They don't know that he's unarmed until later. But
yeah, but there needs to be an immediate danger to go all the way to
they didn't know he was unarmed, but the sergeant was able to take him down with a taser.
Yeah.
The sergeant didn't reach for his gun. He reached for the taser. It was 2 other police officers who reached for their gun. And to put another layer on this, the man who's being charged with the assault is black, so there's a whole nother racial element to this.
Yeah, because New York NYPD doesn't have the best record when it comes to race relations.
Oh, they have an awful record when it comes to race relations. And this is just the newest thing.
Yep.
And so it's no wonder to me that some officers might have immediately thought that he was armed, because that tends to be what police officers think when they see a black man.
Right.
That's just automatically what they think. I can't tell you how many stories I read in a week about a black man being stopped for something small, and suddenly there are guns drawn and he ends up being unarmed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously common. And then I don't think we have it as an actual troll, but NYPD, I think it was NYPD, did it again. I know it was in New York State at least.
Mm-hmm.
2 young black teenagers were waiting in front of a store for the bus.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about this one.
And they were arrested for loitering or something.
Yeah.
I think they added another charge on there. I don't know.
How dare you not own a car?
Yeah. They were waiting for a school bus to take them to an extracurricular activity. And while the police were stopping them and about to arrest them, their coach showed up and was like, "What are you doing? We're going to the sports thing.
We're gonna sports hard.
We're gonna go sports. We're gonna work really hard on sportsing. You can't arrest them." And then they threatened to arrest the coach, so he backed off. But yeah, that's just another layer on top of that. That it's not just about an unarmed man being like having trumped up assault charges against him. It has a lot of racial undertones that have been plaguing the NYPD. Well, I don't want to phrase it that way, because then it sounds like they're the victims, but they're not. They're the perpetrators of this bullshit.
The NYPD has a lot of shit they need to deal with.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so we're choosing between, I guess, the Rabbinical Court of Israel that's fining this woman $149 a day. The London cops, Fox News.
All of Fox News.
All of Fox News.
Every bit of it.
Or trigger-happy, possibly racist NYPD policemen. So 2 different sets of cops, really.
Okay.
And a legal system. So that's like cops, right?
That's like cops, basically. All right, who do you choose?
I have to say, just to go off the traditional way that trolls are, Fox News is like a perfect troll this week. Like, they even found out that what they had reported was wrong, and they just stuck with it. They didn't listen to anyone.
Oh, that's right.
Which
because
is,
they did find out, and the guy added an update, but it didn't correct any of the facts.
They didn't correct any of the facts once they found out that it wasn't true.
It was just like we've received some criticism, and now you know we've received criticism type of thing.
Because they see that as validation, being criticized.
All right.
So that's my vote. Fox.
I'm going to have to go with racist NYPD.
Yep.
All of them. Because, I mean, really, how much more trolly can you get? Like, we're going to shoot at you and then charge you for any damages.
Charge you for shooting those people behind you.
And then let's walk down the street. Oh, there's 2 black kids waiting outside a store. I wonder what they're up to. Waiting for a school bus? I doubt that. I mean, that's like real life trolling right there, and it has real life consequences. Well, very, very serious real life consequences.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right.
Racist NYPD. I'm going for that.
Well, we're going to let George Takei deal with the NYPD and Fox News.
Yay.
Take it away, George.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Alrighty.
I was trying to ask Story a question during that, but I didn't know if our mics were muted, and then it ended. So it doesn't matter anymore.
It's too late now. Gone too far.
Can't go back. That's what happened to me on the way driving here.
Yep.
It's like, it's too late now. I can't go back. I'm already halfway there. All right, so our bosses. Let's talk about these people because they make me happy inside.
Okay. And we have some pretty awesome bosses this week.
We do. I'm excited about them. I noticed that a troll against transgender people was missing, so we made it up by having somebody be a boss defending a transgender child.
So this week we don't. I guess this still counts as an honorary transphobe troll, but we're focusing on the boss behavior instead.
Yes, there are transphobes in this story, but we got 2 bosses in this story. It's pretty awesome. So Dory, you want to talk about this?
I was hoping you would.
You were hoping I would?
I don't know as much about this one as you do.
Okay. Well, basically in Ohio, the mother of a 9-year-old transgender child is being harassed on social media, and she wants it to stop.
Go figure.
She said her daughter was born was assigned male gender at birth. I'll just put it that way.
There you go.
But now identifies as female. And last week they legally changed her name to Keat, and the mom posted about it on Facebook. And she was celebrating it. She said, it was a big step for us, and a couple of people took it upon themselves to berate me for it. So she's really upset and basically calling on the bullies to stop. So she's the first boss for being awesome in supporting her child and in calling on bullies to, stop being assholes to children.
Yeah.
Second boss is School Superintendent Bill Dodds. Confirmed Keats' accounts of bullying. And, there's also been bullying at school as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. I'm getting a little drunk. So
because, bullying parents also end up having bullying children.
That's true. So the school superintendent, Bill Dodds, confirmed the accounts of bullying and says they address it immediately and have a zero tolerance policy for bullying. He said, it's disgusting. We don't accept it and we won't accept it.
Yeah, it's bad enough that kids are bullying her, but the fact that the parents have been bullying her and her mother on social media is disgusting. What grown adult starts harassing a 9-year-old?
I just don't even get it. I mean, it's Facebook. You're obviously close to this person in some way.
Right.
Why would you shit all over them?
Because penis, that's why.
I don't get it. Ugh. Anyway,
always about
but
penis.
I don't want to talk about the trolls because they're assholes. I want to say...
Well, and I also want to add that the report that we have here gets boss privilege as well, because they didn't do the whole was born with this name thing that so many fucking media groups do.
Well, I got it from LGBTQ Nation.
I'm just saying, that's not always a guarantee.
True.
So there are plenty of trans groups out there that don't really have trans awareness, so
yeah,
I'm still giving them a thumbs up for not doing the whole was born this, blah, blah, blah. Or putting her name in quotation marks or any of that bullshit.
Our next boss is...
Oh, man. This one's so fucking cool.
Do you want to talk about him?
Yes.
I think you're the one who, really read up on this.
Yeah. So there's a jazz pianist called Daryl Davis. He played for President Clinton, and he's been in a ton of bands. He's pretty awesome. But what's even more awesome about him, rather than just the fact that he's a musician, is that he's, by befriending members of the KKK for almost 30, I think more than 30 years now, he's gotten, I think it's over 20 different Klan members to quit the Klan, and has completely dismantled, is it Maryland, I think? Maryland's KKK.
Yeah,
because he befriended too many of them and the structure fell apart.
Yeah. He also wrote a book about the KKK and his experiences with them. It's just really awesome. It's like, and not only does he befriend them and get many of them to quit, he also collects their hoods after they quit.
Yeah, he collects their robes and hoods. So he has, it says in this article, he has over 20 robes and hoods that he's collected from Klansmen he's gotten to quit the Klan by being friends with them.
That's
which
amazing.
is so cool.
And and the thing is that research actually backs this up. People who are bigoted or like xenophobic or racist in some way, their views tend to soften when they know somebody who's a member of the targeted, the hated group, basically. It's kind of the same. It's the same across a lot. Most marginalized groups.
I was going to say pretty much all marginalized groups.
Where it's like, once they know, and it's kind of sad that some people have to know somebody personally in order to change their views. But I am glad that some people are changing their views. It's just sad that you have to make it personal and you can't just, get it. But yeah, this is a great example of that.
The fact that he has the guts to put himself in some potentially really dangerous situations.
Oh yeah, he has. He met
like the Grand Dragon or something at one point.
He did. He met the Grand Dragon in a hotel room. It was him and his secretary, and then the Grand Dragon and armed guards.
And the Grand Dragon had no idea that he was black when he had arranged the meeting. So shit got real tense for a little bit. And yet he still got that guy to quit the Klan. That's why the Maryland KKK fell apart. Which is so awesome. Like, the fact that he has the guts to do that and has done all this good shit because of it is just so awesome. Totally boss behavior.
He does point out that, at least, he basically says, at least with the KKK, their intentions are clear.
Yeah.
And he says, whereas racism can manifest in anyone, it is often invisible. And I think that's a good way to put it, because a lot of people, when they hear racism or charges of racism,
they think of Klan members.
They think Klan member. They think somebody who's going around explicitly saying such and such race is superior, or or saying certain races are inferior explicitly. But really, the most common forms of racism aren't explicit; they're implicit. And the ones that are most noticeable are typically dog whistles, so other racists understand what they're saying exactly, whereas people who aren't in that mindset won't necessarily understand it. And then there's the even more subtle versions that almost everybody falls prey to, or at least most white people.
It goes back to those microaggressions we've talked about before.
It really goes back to microaggressions, where you have to sit there and really deconstruct the meaning behind the words that you say and the actions that you take towards people of color. And it takes a lot of work, but it's nothing compared to having to grow up in a system that's racist against you. So this guy's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the article's a little long, but it's totally worth the read. My only complaint was the stupid headline, which we both commented on.
Oh God,
those Upworthy headlines.
I didn't want to read this article for so long. I saw it in my newsfeed a few times, and I was like, I'm not reading this shit. It had one of those stupid Upworthy headlines where you don't actually know what it's gonna be about, and I don't understand why these got popular. I mean, I can understand making some, every once in a while using this because it can work as an attention grabber.
It's too common now.
Well, it's
and it's forced on a lot of them.
It really is forced. It's almost like they're doing a meta making fun of it.
Yeah, they're trying too hard.
But really, I mean, if all of your articles have regular headlines that, give readers an idea of what they're going to be reading about or watching a video, then every once in a while having a vague headline can actually be an attention grabber. But if you use it for every single story, no, it doesn't work.
Right.
And this computer is frozen.
Uh-oh. Well, our next boss is Benjamin Banneker Academic High School. The students there who came up with a really simple and cheap way of locking doors in their school to make sure that intruders can't get in with guns, which is pretty awesome. It's called Deadlock, and it's pretty simple. It's just like this plastic thing that you put on the hinge of the door, and it prevents the door from being able to be opened from the outside. It can only be unlocked by removing that device after.
Yeah. And it also, it's removable. So as soon as they get the word that there's like somebody in the school or that they're on lockdown, the teacher can just pull it out of their desk and put it on their door.
Yep.
So you don't have the problem of teachers ending up locked outside of their classrooms, which happens apparently. So these students are really cool. They actually are having help from, they've basically invented the whole thing, done the design and everything. They're just getting help from some lawyers who are going to help them through the patenting and licensing process and everything. So that's also cool of the lawyers to do that.
Yep.
Yay, boss students. Where are they from?
I just lost it. Hang on.
Just now opened it. Because my computer.
Washington, D.C.
Okay. Go Washington, D.C. students.
Yay.
And they also, they call it the Dead Stop, and the team behind it was given a $10,000 grant by the Lemelson, MIT, and Venn Teams program to develop the locks. So that's really cool.
Pretty awesome. And more students that are being bosses.
I love finding boss students.
I do too. It makes me hopeful about the future.
That's exactly why I like it. This student apparently he's in elementary school. I want to say second grade.
Yeah, he's a second grader.
Second grader at Roundtown Elementary School in York, Pennsylvania, and his family was contemplating moving to Germany, or a temporary move. So he went online and started researching German schools. You know,
how cool is that? That a 7-year-old is like, I'm gonna research where I'm going, so I can learn the customs of the new country I'm going to.
So while he was researching, he noticed that one German school had a buddy bench for students who felt lonely or excluded during recess. So he really liked the idea because he noticed that some students were being left out during recess. And first of all, it's like, go you researching.
Right.
Second of all, go you empathy. So he went to his principal and got a buddy bench at his school. And basically what it is
if you need someone to play with, you just go sit on the buddy bench.
Yeah, if you're feeling alone or excluded, you go to the bench, and then other students invite you over to talk or play. And it apparently really lets students enjoy recess more. Because how else are people going to know that you're ready to talk or play or whatever?
Well, and I love that it teaches them to communicate openly about how they're feeling, because I think a lot of the times people probably just don't know that you're feeling lonely or something when you're a kid at recess, so people don't know and therefore don't invite you to play with them. But if you have something like that where it's explicitly laid out, somebody's going to invite you to play with them. They haven't had an issue with someone not being invited to play from the buddy bench. So I just think it's it encourages empathy, and it's just so fucking awesome and so simple. Plus 7-year-old researching, man. Go internet and go 7-year-old.
Yay! Internet boss. Okay, so who do you think should be our boss of the week?
It's between the buddy bench and Daryl Davis. I have a really hard time choosing between those two.
How about you choose one and I choose the other, because that's what I'm stuck on too.
Okay. Then I'm going to go with the buddy bench.
Okay, I'm going to go with Daryl Davis. This election was not rigged at all.
Nope,
people.
Totally not.
I demand a recount.
Completely legit.
Those hanging chads confused me, and I accidentally voted for the racist NYPD.
Oh, no.
Okay.
All right, so our boss speech is in honor of Nelson Mandela, because he died earlier this week, which is sad. So this is, I believe, his inaugural address, the very tail end of it. So enjoy. We'll be back after the commercial break.
The time for the healing of the wounds
has come. The moment to bridge the chasms that divide us has come. The time to build is upon us. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace. We understand it still that there is no easy road to freedom. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. I thank you.
Audible.com is offering a free 30-day trial for you, the listeners of Shethinkers. To check out their service and download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. This week we personally recommend Bonk, The Curious Coupling of Science and Sex by Mary Roach. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Shethinkers for any free audiobook of your choice. All right, we're back.
Oh, we're back. Okay. My drink is really strong.
Well, it's too late now. We've gone too far.
I'll just have to drink it and make a new one. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, so we have a couple sort of new sections for you tonight. I don't know. Do we want to go ahead and do stupid sexist song?
I think we can start with that one. I've got it ready.
Okay. All right.
For the rest of, I guess, for the next 3 weeks before Christmas, I guess, we're going to bring you stupid sexist Christmas songs to make it even more festive.
Yay! Sexism is always more fun with festivities.
Yeah, totally. Especially if it's traditional. I don't want to give away the song. I'm just gonna start it.
Let's just get right in there.
Okay.
just like my mother.
Okay. So here's the deal with this song. She's saying, I can't stay, I've got to go. And he's saying, but it's cold outside. Basically using an excuse to not let her go. And she's saying, yeah, this evening's been nice. And he's like, your hands are cold, let me hold them.
Here, let me hold them.
So right away we know we're going to be talking about consent in this song.
Specifically coercive consent, which isn't really consent.
So,
all right,
let's keep going. She
Her
just told
hurry
you.
is that she's trying to get back to her mother, who's worrying.
She just told you what her hurry is. All right. Typical male derailed.
Beautiful, please don't hurry. Maybe just a half a drink more. Put some records on while I pour.
Okay, so a dude who's trying to keep you in his house, and you're like, and eventually talks you into just saying, all right, just half a drink, and he's like, you go do this while I pour the drinks. I don't know if I trust this dude. I already feel queasy.
I've heard some people who claim that, oh, well, she takes a half a drink more, so she doesn't really want to leave. She's just playing hard to get. And the whole playing hard to get thing just plays into rape culture, so you can't win with this song.
Either way, this song sucks. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell whether or not she really wants to stay or she just feels coerced.
You know how you could tell? You could just fucking ask.
Yeah. The next line could be like,
hey, wanna fuck?
Do you really want to leave or are you just playing hard to get? That could be the next line in the song, and then I would have no problem with it.
Right?
All right, we can...
Neighbors might say, baby, it's bad out there. Say, what's in this drink? To be had.
Hey, what's in this drink?
And then immediately he brings up the weather again and says there's no cabs to be had out there. So even if what he put in the drink is alcohol, he's implying that she's stuck there if she gets drunk. So yeah, and plus alcohol is like the most prominent form of drug used in rapes. So there's that. So she had a hat on earlier, meaning she really wasn't staying.
She's getting ready to walk out the door.
Here, let me take your hat. But I was just okay. There's two things at play here, and this is where I really think that, especially what time period this song comes from. I don't think the people who originally wrote this song were writing it from a perspective of a woman who really wanted to say yes but wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they weren't writing it from a perspective of a woman who wanted to leave but was being coerced into it. They were writing it from the perspective of what we were saying earlier, the playing hard to get, because she has to. And this was sort of a response to that culture, but they still went about it all wrong. You still should not, after saying all that, he still should stop and clarify what it is she's wanting. Right. And then, not only that, but she's saying, I ought to say no, and she's obviously expressing misgivings, and he never once expresses any misgivings in this song.
Right.
He immediately is like, I want to hold your hands. Here, take this drink. There's no cabs out there.
Here, take your hat off.
Take your hat off.
Stay a while.
Now I'm going to move in closer. And then when she says, at least I'm going to say that I tried, and he says, what's the sense in hurting my pride? He makes this all about him.
Yep.
When really, he's not the one who's going to suffer anything from this relationship.
She's already saying, like, my dad's going to kill me, my mom's going to kill me, everyone's going to think I'm a slut, like...
She's expressly talking about, all these things that are she's coming up against, so she's being pressured by this guy that she's with to stay, when maybe she does want to stay. I don't know. Maybe she does.
And also being pressured by society.
But she's also expressing misgivings because she's being pressured by society, and rather than comfort her and or something, or just like say I'm listening, he talks about himself. He brings it back to himself and says, well, that's going to hurt my pride. Like, I don't give a fuck about your pride.
Fuck your pride.
Really? All right, go ahead and... Oh, God, I hate that. Stop it. Okay.
The don't hold out
don't
line.
Hold out. Don't hold out. Like, no, just shut the fuck up right now.
You lose.
Yeah, you've lost this. Okay, go ahead. I like the clarinet, though.
Right. I really like the musical aspect of this song.
Yeah,
I just don't like the lyrics at all.
Change the words and it would be a cute duet.
And actually, there's somebody that's been on Free Thought blogs. Is that where it's running around right now? Or Papios?
I know. I saw it on Free Thought blogs. Greta Christina shared a rewrite of this song by Chase Gregory on YouTube called "Baby It's Consensual Outside," where they the singer goes and they sing both parts of the song.
Yeah.
It's an adorable video, but it's great. So go check out Chase Gregory. And actually, this song we've been planning on doing this song for a while, ever since we first came up with the stupid sexist song thing.
We've really been like chomping at the bit to do this.
I've read like at least 3 blog posts from different people on this song this week, and I know 2 of them were from Free Thought blogs. I'm like, damn, they scooped us. But they're awesome, so you should go read those. I know one of them was Greta Christina, and I can't remember who did the other one. Stephanie Swan or Miri at Brute Reason.
I only saw Greta's.
I don't remember who it was. I read a lot of blogs, so just read all of them, and you'll be good. All right, I guess we can start playing it again.
All right.
But baby, it's cold outside. The answer is baby, it's cold.
And here
she has explicitly said no. There's no doubting.
Here she's saying no. The answer is no. Before there were misgivings, you could have possibly interpreted it as, well, maybe yes, but I kind of think because of these reasons that I
probably shouldn't.
It was like a yes, but I shouldn't type of thing. Now she's saying the answer's no. And he's still going
You're
on.
done.
That's when the song should
Game
just
over,
end.
dude.
The answer is no. Baby, it's cold outside. End of song. There. Fixed it.
Trying to change the conversation again.
He is. Okay. Again, she says no. She thanks him for the welcome she gets, but she's like,
all right, I'm going to get the fuck out of here now.
I have family that's going to be worried and suspicious of me, and he's like, your lips look delicious. That's just creepy.
Right.
When I talk to the boy and he talks about if he says something about his sister, I'm not going to be like, damn, you look hot today. Like, what? It just doesn't make any sense.
It's a non sequitur.
He did the same thing earlier. She was talking about something serious, and he's like, your eyes look like starlight.
Right.
So he's obviously not even listening to anything she says.
There will be there at the door. Waves upon tropical shore. My maiden aunt.
That was a continuation of how delicious her lips were.
Right.
Delicious. Well, maybe just a cigarette. Never such a pleasure before. I got to get home. Baby, you'll freeze out there.
Again, explicitly saying that she needs to go home now. Still.
But this next line is. So she says, I've got to go home, and he reminds her, but it's cold outside, it's freezing.
She's like, all right, give me your coat then.
Exactly. She's like, give me your coat, that'll fix it. All right, go ahead.
Really been great. I'll thrill when you touch my hair. Don't you see? to me.
Bringing it back to himself again.
Bringing it back to himself. She's talking about, she mentions her mother and father worrying and being angry. She mentions the neighbors talking about her. She mentions her sister, her brother, her maiden aunt. All of these people who are pressuring her, which also is bad. I'm not going to say that I support that. But she's mentioning all of these perfectly legitimate reasons why she doesn't want to stay with him that night. Because the social consequences are so much more for her than they are for him, and he's making it out like he's the victim for her saying no. He's like, how could you do this to me? Do what?
Fuck off.
It's like, no, you can go whack it yourself later. You don't need me here for that.
Think of my lifelong sorrow. At least there will be plenty in flight. If you caught pneumonia and I...
Yeah, no, he's like, again, think about how I'll feel if you die from pneumonia from going out in the cold. Still bringing it back to himself when he's pretending to be concerned.
It's like, I don't even, it's like he tried right there to make it something about her feelings, but still ended up making it about him.
Right.
She's, again, talking about the social pressures that she's under, and he's not fucking listening. He's like, but I'll be sad if you get sick. Like, wouldn't it be more pertinent that, but if you go outside, you'll get sick and you'll be sad that you're sick? Like, I don't... okay.
We got another minute. I'm just warning you ahead of time.
Do we? My lyrics end there.
Is this all instrumental then?
It might be all instrumental.
All right.
A lot.
Whatever. You've heard this rapey Christmas song before.
Yeah, and then that very last line, he says, get over that holdout.
Yeah.
Get over it. Like, hey, I've got all these 10 reasons why I'm saying no, even though I shouldn't have to even give you a reason for no.
No should be enough.
And then he's like, well, just get over it. Oh, God. This song has always bothered me.
And hey, Lady Gaga and whoever the hell she sang it with, it's still creepy even when you reverse the genders.
Yeah, it's
still
no.
rape. Rape isn't cool regardless of the genders of the people involved.
All right. So, we're going to do...
We've got a couple other segments. Do you want to do your justified ginger rage next?
Oh, that is my justified ginger rage, I believe. No, I want to talk about these cool cookies that I've been eating during the show.
Okay.
How did you make them?
Okay. So we're going to call this next segment, just so you know, How Pinteresting.
How Pinteresting. We're basically going to introduce a segment where we talk about cool recipes and do-it-yourself projects and stuff that you
crafty
can...
things.
Crafty stuff.
Cocktails.
Because we're so crafty.
Yeah, you know.
So
both of our recipes today are about hot cocoa, because hot cocoa is amazing, especially when it's icy and shitty outside. So, first of all, we had some Irish hot chocolate earlier. So basically it's just hot chocolate, but you add, you can either add 2 shots of Irish cream or a shot of Irish cream and a shot of peppermint schnapps if you like peppermint in your hot chocolate. Both of them are amazing, so go do it.
Both.
Yes, both.
All right.
And the other one is hot cocoa cookies, which are fucking amazing.
Oh my god.
They're my best cookie ever.
After almost dying on my way over here, I get here and Dory is like, hey,
here's a drink.
Here's a drink.
And cookies.
I was like, sweet. And then she's like, and cookies. And I'm like, you're the best mom ever. And I have to say, these cookies were amazing. Like, I just can't even explain it. Just tell them what's in that shit.
Okay. So, there's 1 1/4 cups of butter, 1 cup of granulated sugar. This makes a shit ton of cookies, by the way.
It already sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Butter and sugar.
Butter and sugar. 2/3 brown sugar, 2 eggs, a tablespoon of vanilla, 3 1/4 cups of flour, 4 packets of instant cocoa mix. I went with the dark chocolate by Swiss Miss, which made it even better. Make sure you don't get sugar-free cocoa, because otherwise there won't be enough sugar in your cookies. So
You need your cookies to be sweet.
Yes. 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then a cup of chocolate chips and a cup of marshmallow bits. Like the teeny tiny ones that come in cocoa. You can buy them in a little container.
I took a bite out of it, and it's like chocolate, like the cookie itself, the structure of it is like this chocolate cake type texture, but then it has like this fudgy inside with melted marshmallow. Oh, I can't even.
And chocolate chips. It's so amazing.
I just can't even with that cookie in the good way.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It was delicious. So you should go home and try that now. And also what I found is delicious is if you dip the hot chocolate cookies into your
Irish
hot chocolate. Even better.
It's amazing.
All right. It is amazing.
Okay, do you want to go on your justified ginger rage now?
I guess so. I'm all hopped up on cookie talk.
I can't believe we haven't done a justified ginger rage segment.
We haven't.
That's like your thing.
This is so weird. I didn't even think of calling. I was just going to call it Dirty Nerdy Hates This Show. But yeah, justified ginger rage. All right, so this week I'm just going to say fuck off already, Modern Family. Seriously, every time I watch this show I just get more and more pissed off. Like, I used to like it when it first came out, and I had hopes that it wouldn't stay shitty, that it might learn from its mistakes. No, it doesn't. I mean, seriously, what is supposed to be modern about a teenage boy spending an entire episode humiliating another teenage boy by insinuating he's a girl?
So modern.
And you were supposed to be rooting for the boy calling the other one a girl.
Yeah, you're not sympathizing with the boy who's being picked on.
Yeah. And then... Oh, and what's modern about a TV show that can't acknowledge that there are at least 3 other letters besides the G in LGBT?
Well, and not only that, but they have the sexless gay characters.
They do. They didn't kiss for the longest time, even.
Yeah.
The only time they ever show them in the bedroom is when they're talking about what clothes they're gonna wear.
Yeah, they're like stereotypical campy gay. Like they're not even realistic characters.
Campy, white privileged gay. That's what they are. And it's just annoying. And it's like, no, stop it. And they've never, like, they've had, Greta Christina has a great post about bisexual erasure in this show.
Yep.
There's at least one episode where they ponder whether or not a certain person is gay, and they never once even mention that they could possibly like both.
There's 2 things that drive me crazy about most, like, romantic plots in TV or movies. One is the assumption that everyone is strictly monogamous, which always drives me crazy in plots, because it's like instantly someone's cheating on them rather than like, oh, I wonder if that's okay in their relationship or not. And then the same thing with, oh, are they gay or are they straight? It's never, like, bisexual is never part of a plot, ever.
Even in a show where in canon a character has been in serious relationships with people
men and women.
Yeah, I was going to say with people of various genders.
Yeah, that
works too. Like, it's, I don't even get it's like, what, they were straight before and now they're lesbian? Like, how did that happen? They did the same thing in Orange is the New Black, and it was really annoying.
They never say bisexual in Orange is the New Black.
Never once do they mention that could be a possibility. All right, and we already kind of touched on this, but what's so modern about a show that plays up gay stereotypes for cheap laughs?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cam is the overdramatic gay guy. That's what he is.
Yeah.
And they even have like whole episodes dedicated to it. The fact that he's all really overdramatic about everything and exaggerates about everything, and it's just really
a drama
annoying.
Queen. Never seen that character before.
I thought they were gonna sort of pull away from the gay stereotypes when they made him a football coach this season, but now I feel like that's their way.
That's just for more laughs.
Yeah, it's just for more laughs now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that he's not good at being a coach. He is good at being a coach, but it's more of I feel like it's a cover.
Yeah.
So that they can still make this gay stereotype jokes, but since he's a football coach, that means that they're subverting it. And I'm like,
and
no.
because they're winning, then that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's their thinking.
It's like, no, you're not subverting anything.
Yeah.
And what's so modern about a show that can't even keep one of its strongest female characters strong without giving her some superficial sexual attention? They do this to Alex all the time, and it pisses me the fuck off. she's a great, well, not a great person. She does shitty things sometimes because of sibling rivalry.
She's at least a three-dimensional character.
She is. She's a very three-dimensional character. It shows that, like, yes, she's smart and she's proud of being smart. She's proud of who she is, but she's also lonely. And the problem with how they portray that is that the way that they solve her loneliness in so many episodes, it's to make her pretty in some way, to make her feel pretty. That's what they do. Yeah. There have been more than one episode. The latest one was Haley faked putting graffiti that sexualized. I mean, this is just creepy. She faked sexualized graffiti about her sister to make her feel better. Like, what?
That's weird.
It's weird.
That's
You'd have to watch the episode. But apparently it started, like, some sort of rumor, and then Alex suddenly has friends. It's like, first of all, no, you shouldn't. That's not how you deal with loneliness, by, like, explicitly sexualizing her.
Right.
And second of all, I doubt that. I mean, I've seen what happens when girls get labeled slut.
And it's not good.
And it doesn't solve loneliness.
No.
I'm going to tell you that right now. So really, I get so annoyed. Like, I already hate Haley's character because she's like typical. Like, if you're not smart, then you have to be pretty type of thing. And Alex is the exact opposite of that. If you're smart, then you can't possibly be pretty, even though she's pretty. She is. She's what we call TV ugly. Apparently.
I always hate TV ugly.
Like, she's not ugly. She's cute. What are you talking about?
That was one of my biggest problems with Ugly Betty, which I do like that show off and on, but I still more or less like it. But the TV ugly always irritates me.
All right.
Because there's people who are uglier than that character, and what is that supposed to say to them?
The next two, I'm going to just say two of them at once. What's so modern about a show that allows a teenage boy's stepdad to berate him and make fun of him over and over again because he's not manly enough? And what's so modern about a show that forces that teenage boy to change instead of the stepdad? Like, I could accept this storyline if in the end the stepdad had changed and become more accepting, which he sort of seems like he does over the course of the seasons, but the last 2 seasons he's regressed a lot, which is weird because he's the father of the gay guy. So it's like you'd think that he would be used to men not acting particularly in the heteronormative manly way. And this is, and really I love Manny. He's one of my possibly my favorite character of the show. He's level-headed and he's smart. He's really personable. He's funny. He just has a great personality. And he has really cool interests. Like, he's really great at baking cakes and stuff. And in one of the episodes, he goes to I think it's like a state or county fair, and enters the cake bake sale, and he has this amazing cake. And his stepdad berates him, not super openly. It's more of a, I don't want the other kids to laugh at you type of thing, which is still bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to the other kids instead of telling your kid that they have to change.
Right.
And the mom the boy's mother goes and destroys half the cake. She sabotages him so that he'll lose the bake sale and maybe change his interests. And that is just so messed up.
That's so shitty.
And they never talk about how messed up it is. She tells him that it was her, and he's like, it's okay. And then the next episode, he somehow ends up on the football team. And that's how they're changing his character.
Oh, thank God.
He's now on the football team. And not only that, but in the latest episode, he made a winning kick that, for various ethical reasons, he protested. He didn't want to make the winning kick, but he did. And he acts at the end like he's all upset. And then they're like, no, but you like winning. Deep down, you like being competitive. And I really have a problem with that. It's like, you don't know what he is deep down. You're not a mind reader.
Right.
And second of all, why are you wanting to, like, tear down the good qualities this kid has? That he's willing to give up a win to make other people feel better about themselves. Like,
because penis.
God. I just can't stand that they play off his stepdad being an asshole to him for laughs, and then they make the boy have to
So there's
change.
an abusive relationship and it's sexist on top of it?
Yes. And then what's so modern about a show that forces one of the other strong women to have to admit to her dad over and over again. They've had multiple episodes about this, that she needs help, and they make it a big giant deal. They never have her brother do that.
I'm gonna say, is this his daughter?
Yeah,
because
his daughter.
All teenagers have to ask their parents for help sometimes.
She's not a teenager. She's a full-grown adult woman.
Okay. Everyone has to ask their parents for help sometimes, but if you're only making a big deal about it because she's a woman who has to ask for help.
Well, in the latest episode that really highlighted it for me, at least from what I can remember, is she now has a job at her dad's company, and she asked him to treat her the same as all the other employees, basically. Don't show her special treatment and whatnot, because other people think that she's just daddy's girl. And they spend an entire, couple scenes basically humiliating her until she breaks down and is like, okay, yeah, I need help sometimes. And I'm just like, it's one thing to have a, we shouldn't always be prideful type of episode, and it's another thing to spend half of that storyline humiliating a woman in order to force her to say that she needs help sometimes.
Well, and not only that, but it's basically making fun of equality arguments, because she has a valid point when she says, she shouldn't be getting special treatment. It's totally valid. So it's ridiculing a real argument, but in a sneaky way.
And what's so modern about a show that uses racist stereotypes about Latina women to get cheap laughs? I just can't even...
What? The exotification of women of color?
Oh, she's definitely... Manny's mom. What's her name on the show? My mind just went blank.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even remember.
I've only watched the show passively when I had roommates that watched it.
She plays a Colombian woman on the show who's... I don't even want to get into the whole show if you've never seen it, but basically there's a Latina woman on the show who, for the first couple seasons, basically was there just to play the hot wife.
Yeah.
And when they started developing her character more, she turned into the firebrand Latina woman. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, really?
Sassy woman of color, what?
Oh my god, I've never heard... That's so original.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
So modern.
I just
super
can't stand it. And then not only that, but they layer it on top of using her to talk about to perpetuate the crazy woman stereotype, because a lot of the times when she gets angry about something, they play it off like she's just being crazy and irrational. And this is just amplified by the fact...
Yeah, I never get tired of that trope either.
And the whole thing is amplified by the fact that she's a woman of color. And so that just weighs doubly on the show's bad list. I can't even talk anymore. I'm so drunk. I can't make sentences. I'm sorry. But that's really just stuff that I wrote down all at once when I was pissed off after watching an episode the other night. I could go on. I could probably go through and watch all the seasons again and just write down all the fucked up shit that they do. But that's about all I have time for.
Okay.
So fuck you, Modern Family. You're not modern. You're not progressive, because we all know that's what you're claiming to be. Mm-hmm. We all know modern is
code for progressive.
It's code for progressive. It's code for, we get it, nudge, nudge. We're tolerant. We're accepting. I'm like, no, you're not. Fuck off.
Tolerance a fucked up term anyway.
I know. I hate that word. We had a whole discussion about that.
Right. Okay, so my last segment is it's about World AIDS Day, which is the 1st of December every year, and it's, hey, you're doing it wrong. I have myths about HIV that we can go over, so that's fun.
So, Dory, is it true that the very worst thing you can do is have unprotected sex with someone who is HIV positive?
Are we going to pretend like this is a conversation?
Maybe.
Aw, that's weird.
Fine, we don't have to do that. I thought it would be funny to make it sound kind of staged, because nothing is scripted here.
I just don't want to do it for 11 points.
That is a long time. I give up. I give up. I'm a bad Boy Scout. I'm a drinker.
That's okay. We were protesting the Boy Scouts.
By drinking?
Yes. All right.
Okay, go on.
The reason why this is a myth is because if somebody actually knows what their status is, it's actually much less likely for you to get HIV from them than having unprotected sex with somebody who claims that they're negative, even if they legitimately know that they're negative. Even if that was only a week ago, it could be that the virus just hasn't shown up in their system yet. So they may think they know, but they don't really know, is kind of how it is. So if somebody knows that they're HIV positive, then they're most likely on treatment, and so that's really going to lower the virus levels so that you actually end up with less of a risk.
Yeah.
But you should still use condoms, please.
Yeah, still use protection, but it's actually more risky to not use protection with somebody who doesn't know their status than it is to not use protection with somebody who does know their status and is being treated.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
It seems counterintuitive, but statistics are fun that way.
Yay. Yay, science.
You can read the next myth.
All right, I'll read the next one.
I just don't want to pretend it's a conversation.
Fine. I was going to take a drink, but I guess I'll read stuff. All right, the next one is people think that being HIV positive means that you can't hold certain jobs or do certain things in life, like be a nurse or a parent, what have you. But basically, no, that's not true. Men and women with the virus can be parents to an HIV-negative baby. Also, they can adopt if they're not sure.
Yay.
There's less than a 1% chance of babies with an HIV-positive mom getting the virus. Now, that's a stat for the UK, but the UK and the United States are pretty similar.
And that's only treated because this can kind of go shoehorned in between these next 2 points, but there's only 4 different fluids that you can contract HIV from, and that's blood, vaginal fluid, seminal fluid, and breast milk. So there's basically 3 different chances for your baby to end up with HIV, either from early on when it's first conceived, then when it's being born, and breastfeeding. So those are 3 different times when your baby could contract HIV if you're not on medication.
Yeah.
So if you know your status, it's pretty low risk, but if you're just in denial, you're probably going to pass it on to your kid.
And this whole idea that you can't be a nurse or anything like that, that's not true.
Yeah.
Definitely, you can be a doctor, you can be a nurse, you can do all those things. It's called gloves.
Right.
It's not like nurses and doctors go in and like inspect you with their bare hands. And it's not like they go and put their fluids on your open wounds or anything. Barring some weird freak accident, you're not going to get HIV from an HIV positive nurse or doctor or something like that. So don't worry about that. I would like to mention the stigma about HIV positive that some people live with, where even though there's no law stating they can't be a nurse or doctor or something like that, when their status is known, often they are passed up for those types of positions and things like that. So that's why I don't know if it's a federal law. I know many states have implemented it, but basically your HIV status is confidential.
Just like all your medical information.
Pretty much, but it's like an added...
especially this.
Yeah, especially this. But basically, you don't have to tell anyone that you're HIV positive, except for like your partners, I think. And even then, I don't even know if that's written into law. It's just ethically you should tell your partners that you're HIV positive.
Yeah.
All right, this one.
This next one is, well, I had sex with somebody and then got tested and came back negative. Therefore, this person is negative too.
Nope.
It's just like getting pregnant. Just because you don't get pregnant the first time you have unprotected sex doesn't mean that you can't ever get pregnant from having unprotected sex. Same goes with HIV.
Well, this one time I drove on the ice all the way to the nerd cave and I didn't die, so that means that I should do that all the time.
Yep. I don't even know why you would think this is a good argument, but
it's
whatever.
Not. The risk varies, so if you're not sure, use a condom. Basically.
This next one is, I'm monogamous, so I don't have to worry. Is not true. Because even if you're practicing monogamy, it doesn't mean that your partner is practicing monogamy.
Yep.
And again, unless you have both been tested a number of times to ensure that you're both negative, you don't know. It could just be that they told you they got tested, but it was like a year ago, and then they caught it and they still don't know, so you could still end up catching it. You shouldn't just assume monogamy is like magic armor that will protect you from HIV.
Then there's the next myth. It's sort of a myth. It's partially true, but
it's a dangerous fact to try to spread around without contextualizing it. Some
people are just immune. Well, yeah, some people are immune to a lot of things, but it's rare. And I just want to clarify that these people aren't even really immune. They can still contract it, it just doesn't affect them, right?
Yeah, it's that their T cells, which is what HIV basically attaches to create extra copies of itself. They attach to your T cells, which are in your immune system. This, less than 1% of the population has a genetic mutation where the receptor on their T cell is malformed, which means the HIV is still in their system, but it can't make copies of itself, so eventually it dies out. But they could still have it in their system.
And they can still pass it on.
Yeah, they can still pass it on.
So again...
And less than 1% of the population. There's another myth that they're working on vaccines, but it's not based on this, and even the vaccines only give you, percentage chance of not catching anything.
Yeah.
And it's lower than condoms' percentage chance, so
Use
really,
a condom.
Barrier methods are the best methods.
The next one is, young gay men are most at risk of HIV.
I think we've had this come up before, and I've said, then, if you think you can only get HIV from being gay, you're at more of a risk than a gay person of getting HIV.
Basically, young gay men in their teens and early 20s tend to mostly have sex with each other, and there are low levels of HIV in that group. So...
Well, and it's because it's talked about in our community.
It's talked about so much. The HIV...
Everyone is aware of it. Everyone has to... You're expected to have a conversation about it with your partners in the queer community.
But if you're a younger man and you're having unprotected sex regularly with older men, then you're more at risk. Because gay and bi men in their later 20s, 30s, or older are more likely to have HIV. I think a lot of that stems from the fact that they're from the generation before, when there wasn't so much awareness and education about the issue, and so they were more at risk of getting it then. And more men aged over 50 contract the virus than teenagers. So basically, older men contract it more.
Well, and I bet that goes along with, I guess when you get closer to the age of retirement, you just kind of go with the, fuck it, might as well hit on the gas mode.
I guess.
There does seem to be more risky behavior with seniors if they're capable.
Wow. I never would have thought that.
Yep.
I want to hang out with my grandma now.
Right?
Actually, my grandma's pretty cool, so I'll hang out with her. The next one is bareback sex is hotter, and I guess that's a judgment call. That's kind of subjective, but who the fuck cares?
Well, and going along with this, there's this, especially in the queer community, and I don't understand it, there's this obsession with being fluid bound with your partner. It's seen as a commitment step or something.
That's...
I don't get it. It's weird.
Prove you're monogamous with me by having unprotected sex? That's the way I can see it. I've never heard of it before, just 5 seconds ago when you said it, though.
It's weird. I don't... But yeah, no, that's a thing. It's something I have to deal with, working with young queer community.
I don't know how it is with gay men, but with me having sex with a guy without a condom on, it's not hotter.
No.
Because I might produce my own lube, but he does not. And most condoms have lube on them. And especially if you get there are ribbed kinds, things like that.
I love ribbed condoms.
They feel better.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Especially if your guy's circumcised, because they're meant to mimic circumcised or non-circumcised penises.
So for me, at least, I actually prefer a condom, even if I know for a fact that we're both clean and healthy and everything, I would still prefer a condom, not just for pregnancy reasons, but for, because it feels better reasons.
Yeah.
The next one is HIV and AIDS are the same thing. I used to think that when I was a kid. I didn't know what it was. I just heard them grouped together.
HIV is the virus, and then AIDS is the shit that happens when you have too much of that virus in your system. So AIDS is when your immune system has pretty much just like fallen apart because of HIV. And you don't really die from AIDS, you end up dying from something like the common cold or something that normally your immune system should be able to fight off.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I thought AIDS was like some disease that has specific symptoms and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I found out that it stands for, now I can't remember what it stands for. I just had it in my head.
Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome.
Yes, that's the one. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. I cannot speak anymore. I'll just shut the fuck up now. No, I'm not even kidding. I had the name in my head right before I started speaking that sentence, and then the whole time I was thinking, oh shit, I can't remember it. I'm glad you're here, all knowledgeable and shit about this. And oh my god, and it's written on the page I'm reading. Holy crap, what is wrong with me? Basically, it's acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which means, your immune is less efficient than it should be.
It's pretty much gone by the time you have AIDS.
And you've acquired it. You've acquired this because of the HIV virus. And because of that, it's not that AIDS is some disease that it's like has specific symptoms. It was hard to diagnose at first in a lot of people because the symptoms are so broad, because it can come you can contract pneumonia suddenly for seemingly no reason, and that can be a clue that you have AIDS. That can clue in your doctor if you haven't already been tested for HIV and stuff like that.
Basically.
So people don't die because, AIDS. They die because of infections that they wouldn't have gotten if they didn't have AIDS.
Yeah. The HIV virus itself won't kill you. The fact that it'll get rid of your immune system is what kills you.
And I would like to say this is another reason why you should definitely keep up with your vaccines and make sure your children are vaccinated, because people with AIDS, again, they have an immunodeficiency, which means that they're more susceptible to those things.
Which means they have to rely more on herd immunity.
They are often I can't even speak. They can get sick very easily from other people. And so if you're not up to date on your vaccines or your children aren't, then you probably shouldn't be around somebody who has AIDS, because that can get them really sick.
Yeah. The next one is that you can tell when someone's HIV positive. Spoiler alert, you can't.
No.
Next one is HIV pos people are treated just like everyone else. So, there's no discrimination against pos people.
I talked about this a minute ago. 1 in 3 people living with HIV still report they have encountered discrimination in the UK. And U.S. research shows stigma and shame are the biggest barriers to people starting treatment after being diagnosed.
Yeah. Which
is sad, because going back to the HIV and AIDS are the same thing, a lot of people think they are, because right after someone's diagnosed with HIV, back in the day, now it's not so much, but back in the day, they would almost immediately get AIDS.
Yeah.
Because the treatment for HIV wasn't very strong, but now...
It was non-existent early on. So.
Yeah.
Even AZT is pretty much useless, which is the big one that people latched onto back in the 80s.
But now, as soon as you're diagnosed, they have pretty good... They're not, foolproof. They're not perfect.
Yeah.
But they have much better treatments for it that can prevent you from getting AIDS, and plenty of people, HIV isn't a death sentence anymore.
Yeah.
Plenty of people live out the rest of their life. They have to have ongoing treatment, but they live out the rest of their life.
I'm gonna say I would add in here with the myths that there does seem to be a myth that like having HIV is no big deal, but it is. You have to take a shit ton of different medications. Your strain of HIV can become resistant to the treatment you're on, so you have to constantly look for new ones that work for you. So by the time you're on your last leg, like, this is the last medication I've got, then you're basically just like, hope they find something new before this becomes immune, otherwise I'm gonna die. So it's like having a ticking time bomb. It's like $15,000 a year to pay for the medication. So you better have insurance.
Yeah, I remember, I really don't like South Park, but they did do a kind of a funny thing about HIV with, who was he, like a basketball player that had it?
It was Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't understand. Why is it that you've had AIDS you've had HIV for years and you don't have AIDS yet? And then they determined that the answer is money.
Yeah.
But like in a literal sense where they start injecting people with money.
Yep.
And so it was a play on the fact that people who have a lot of money can spend that money on
staying
their
alive.
treatment and staying alive. So having HIV is a big deal. It still causes discrimination and
there's
shame.
Plenty of side effects in the
Yeah.
medication as well. Like, you don't want HIV, really.
Yeah, you don't want it.
It is a big deal still.
It's a big deal.
It's
but
not a death sentence, but
yeah,
it's still a big deal.
And the last one is that I see this go around all the time, and people just say this about cancer too, which is weird because, yeah, scientists are 5 years from a cure for AIDS. No, they're not.
We were supposed to have flying cars now, too. We don't always predict shit correctly.
Like I said, I see this stuff all the time in regards to cancer, too. And here's the thing. AIDS is an even more specific disease than cancer is.
Yeah, at least HIV is one specific disease.
So when I see it about AIDS or cancer or something, I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Cancer's even more ridiculous.
First
it's
of
like,
all,
what cancer?
How could you possibly get that number? How could you quantitate that?
Did it hurt when you pulled that out of your ass?
Obviously not. They do it all the time. There is a lot of great research going on, and like I said, they've been making a lot of strides with the treatments and everything, and that now these days HIV isn't necessarily a death sentence. But there's no way that they can quantify when the cure for AIDS is going to come around. What, you know, we hope that there'll be a cure for AIDS in 5 years, but we just don't know. It's not something we can know. And this goes kind of a critique of a lot of science journalism, where they sensationalize science. Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like when the story first comes out, it seems like a feel-good story, something that'll make people, more trusting of science. But
then when the date passes?
But then when the date passes, or when more information comes out and people realize it was wrong, I feel like this really takes away people's trust in science.
Mm-hmm.
And, it kind of fuels a lot of distrust of medical research and pharmacology and things like that because of these sensationalist narratives that people use. And I just stop doing it.
It's lazy journalism.
Just stop doing. And when I was going to be a journalist, I wanted to be a science journalist so that I could not do this. But then, oh my God, I was always asked to make it seem more exciting than it was. I'm like, why is it this exciting to you? Calculating cell growth is amazing, or whatever it was that they were doing. But I was like, this is exciting to me.
Whatever, man.
You're not my real dad. Basically, those are the 11 biggest HIV and AIDS myths, and we talked about a few others. The discussion.
Oh, another one to throw in.
What?
There's no cure. In case you didn't get that from this last one.
Yeah, there's no cure right now.
Even my so-and-so has a 0 viral count. They still have it. It's just in small enough quantities that it's not detectable. And
I want to give a shout out to Gaystar News because they fueled this discussion. We got a lot of our information from them, and we pretty much followed their style. They laid out the myths and everything, and we just kind of piggybacked on it. But they have some great information there about HIV and AIDS facts and myths and stuff like that. So go check out Gaystar News. It's pretty cool.
Yay.
All right. Do we have any more before the commercial?
No. That's all our extra segments.
All right, then. Cool.
So, yay.
You filled out this show on the fly.
Yeah. Next we get to talk about safer sex and birth control and all that fun stuff.
I hear you're really good about talking about that.
It's true.
I heard you have a lot of practice talking
I do.
about it.
All right. We'll be back.
The holiday season is here, and for many it's a time for charity and goodwill. Unfortunately, some of the most prominent charities are either religious or problematic. So from now until the new year, we'll be offering you secular alternatives. This week, rather than donate to the Salvation Army, which discriminates against the LGBT community, even to the point of death, why not consider Red Cross? Despite its name, Red Cross is a completely secular organization that's been helping others since 1881, with an international infrastructure able to quickly respond to humanitarian crises all around the world. You can help them by donating blood, giving money, or volunteering your time. To find out more about how you can help your local Red Cross chapter, go to redcross.org. Again, that's redcross.org. Not organizing it.
Nope, never organized.
And
we're back, by the way.
You always trick me into saying stuff on the air. You never tell me we're live.
It's like a shtick or something. I don't know.
If you hear those clinking noises, it's me making another drink.
Making booze.
Because that's what I need.
Okay, so...
Oh, right now, I'm done drinking a hot chocolate thing because that was really sweet. Can only really drink one.
Exactly.
I have vanilla Coke and whipped cream vodka.
Which is also amazing.
Clink.
Okay, so we're going to talk about safer sex.
Why do you call it safer sex? I always hear people call it safe sex.
Because safe sex implies that if you use this particular method, then you'll never get STIs or pregnancy, and it's not true. So you should think of it as safer sex, just so that you know that there's still a risk every time you have sex, and you should be careful about it.
Well, thank you, Dorothy. I hadn't thought of it that way. She was laughing because I'm like bent over with my head between my arms, talking into the mic because I'm reaching for the bottle of vodka.
And using your NPR voice on top of it.
My NPR voice. I sound more NPR when I'm drunk. Tell me when.
That's good.
Okay. I used the shot measurement for mine, and then I just poured it directly into hers.
You're like, there you go.
If we laugh at visuals cues, I always explain it.
All right. So, to clarify, I would say there's like two big categories of different things you can use for safer sex. There's birth control, which pretty much only prevents pregnancy, and then there's, I would say, barrier methods of contraception, which protect you from STIs as well as pregnancy. So, if you're worried about STIs, you should use barrier methods. There's a few different versions of those. It's not just condoms.
Yeah. I've only ever used condoms. I've never used any other barrier method.
I've used female condoms. I like those. They should be called internal condoms and not female condoms.
Yeah, because you can use them in other places.
Well, and I have to explain to gay boys and gay men that they are capable of using them. So it's irritating.
Yeah.
Like, men could be using these and they're not because it says female condom on it.
You know, they really shouldn't use it. Just like when I bought the Bic pen for women, and then the boy found my pen and started using it, I was like, no, you can't use that. That's for women. Clearly, it's ergonomically structured for the woman's hand, for my dainty woman hand.
Well, and
I have, like, giant hands, I feel like, right now.
What?
My hand is bigger than yours.
They're
It's
like the
giant.
same size.
They're not same. I have giant hands. I'm sorry.
Same.
So female condoms are more like internal condoms. Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess to describe them, because not everyone has seen them before.
That's related to my giant hands.
They look like a bigger version of a male condom, which is what most people think of when they think of condoms. Are external condoms, I guess.
The first time. But it goes internal. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sex jokes. All right. The first time I went to your youth center, I thought it was awesome. You've got a big bowl of condoms, and including female condoms, and I was like, this is a thing?
Yep.
And I'm 25 years old. I never knew that female condoms existed.
Yep.
I knew about like dental dams? Dental dams, which sound gross. I've never used that
Yeah,
before
there needs
either.
to be a sexier word for that.
Yeah, really. I'm like, you put it in your mouth? Why is it called dental?
Yeah.
You don't put it in your mouth.
Say so. We'll get to dental dams.
We'll get to them in a minute. But yeah, I was like, female condom, and Dory was all like, yeah, Dirty Nerdy, you should totally try this out. So I took it home, and I've just never tried it out because I'm terrified of messing up and then accidentally getting pregnant. Like, Dory!
I like them, though, particularly for anal, because there's, like, zero risk of a mess with those. So that's kind of nice.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
Never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm. So they're pretty handy for that. But yeah, it's like a big version of a male condom, external condom, whatever. There's a little plastic ring inside, and you use that if you're going to use it vaginally. So you just twist the ring. It's made of rubber, and then you insert it, and it basically works kind of like the Nuva ring, where it just sits on your cervix and holds it in place.
Yeah, you just like put it in and then screw it into your cervix.
Yeah,
Your
you
cervix,
screw it in.
It has a corkscrew interior.
Yes.
I'm not a doctor. None of this is true. I really shouldn't spread falsehoods about female anatomy. There's enough falsehoods going around as it is. So yeah, barrier method.
Yeah. The other positive thing about these is that they're not latex. They're made from a different material, so they're an option for people who are allergic to latex. That's cheaper than lambskin condoms because those are expensive.
I had a partner once who used lambskin condoms, and it felt weird.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird, and I don't like it. He kept saying, he like insisted that it feels more like regular sex, and I was like, no,
well,
it doesn't.
Whatever it takes to make guys wear condoms, I guess.
I guess, but it felt weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I did it once with like he really insisted on it the first time we had sex, and I did it once, and then I was like, no, next time we're using these that I have. Which goes to another safe sex about if you're using a barrier method, always have your own.
Yes. Everyone should be responsible for their own
if
protection.
You're sexually active and you plan on having sex, or it's just might possibly be in the future, always have
something around.
Have your own. We always have condoms just laying around the house.
Yeah, we do too. We have pretty much all different kinds.
Yeah. So
it's just something you should have.
And what's really fun, especially if you're in a long-term relationship with somebody, what I've found is a nice bonding experience is to always buy your condoms together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never make the other person go in alone. I did at first because even though, like, it's not so much that I'm like ashamed of having sex. It was that for the longest time, and I still kind of get it today. I have this anxiety that the person behind the counter is picturing it. I'm like, I don't want you picturing me that way. But and really going in with my long-term partner is kind of helped ease those anxieties a bit. But it's a fun bonding experience. So you get to pick them out together.
Yeah. I like it. Chris and I, the person who works at our condom store pretty much recognizes us as soon as we walk in.
Our condom store is the Walgreens.
Well, we have a Condom Sense down the street, so...
there's a Condom Sense in our city, but it's a little further away than the one that you're near. But,
the best thing about ours is that, like, they have our brands and they have a shit ton of it, so... Lube and condoms and all that, they have everything we want.
My brand is pretty much Trojan. I know it's kind of, plain, but they have a lot of cool stuff. And what I found is that with other brands, I've found types of their condoms that work well, but I've also had some brands that, like, I broke out in hives once. Yeah. It freaked me out. I went and got myself tested. I was terrified because I was I had hives.
Downstairs.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell? And it turns
out
it was...
freak me the fuck out.
I was clean bill of health. I was just allergic to whatever it was that was on the condom. And I've never had that problem with Trojan. It was whatever, they were using a specific type of spermicide on it. And so I just never deviate from Trojan now. One that I really love is the Fire and Ice. Oh my God, it's amazing. So if you want to have amazing barrier sex, and you like that type of feeling, the Fire and Ice Trojan condoms are pretty cool.
I liked
and hot.
Get it?
Haha.
I liked the ribbed and spiral condoms from Durex personally. Those are some of my favorites.
I think we have some Durex ribbed, I think.
I've tried studded before, and I don't really like those. Those get uncomfortable.
I don't think I've ever had studded. With ribbed, I always have to use more lube with ribbed. I always have to add more.
Yeah, but then there's more texture going on,
that's
and
true.
That's like the best.
Texture's good too.
I especially like doing that with toys because toys don't always have texture. So
I don't think I've ever bought a toy that doesn't have texture just because I'm like, what? If I don't want texture, I'll use a penis.
Right. I mean, I have a shit ton of sex toys, so I have some that are functional and not necessarily ideal, but they serve a certain purpose.
And sex toys play a role in safe sex as well. If you get into a situation where you're just really ready to go, but you don't have any type of barrier method, neither of you do.
Use sex toys.
Use sex toys.
Masturbate in front of each other. It's still sex.
Yeah, it's still sex. It's still hot. You still get off, and it's still a bonding experience with your partner.
It's win-win.
Yeah, awesome.
Although, speaking of, if you're using strap-ons or things like that, you should use condoms on those if able. Otherwise, you should disinfect them after you've used them.
Oh, yeah.
By, there's toy cleaner that you can get that's specifically made for sex toys, or you can run it through the dishwasher. Either one will work.
I've never had... Well, mine usually have batteries, so I can't run it through the dishwasher.
Yeah, I have toy cleaner.
Yeah. What's another... I didn't know which direction you wanted to go into.
We've done 2 different barrier methods, and now we can talk about dental dams and what those are. What?
Dory has no notes, and I've got like a page of notes.
Oh yeah, no.
She does this.
I've done this all the time.
All right, so
this is a spiel I've got down.
Dental dams. What are those? Because they sound scary to me, and I don't know what they are.
The way I like
Does it actually mean I have teeth?
Yes. Yes, that's what it means.
You have teeth in your vagina.
So I like to describe it as it's a little latex sheet that you use, and you place it over whatever hole you're planning on putting your tongue on. So any orifice, anus, vagina, what have you. You drape that over, and now you've got a barrier between the orifice and your mouth.
So that's where the dental part comes in.
Yeah, that's where the dental part comes in.
Oh,
It protects your face, basically.
I never knew it was a face protection.
So you don't get
mechanism.
herpes and things like that.
Okay, that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
I thought it was more similar to like a female condom where it was like an internal burial. Burial.
Barrier.
Yeah, what you said. The thing. Do the thing. So, okay. I'm learning from this too.
Yeah. And not only that, but like I mentioned, rimming can be fun, but not everyone's down for it because, there's like fecal matter down there. So the dental dam's perfect for that. You just plop that down and boom, now you don't have to be squicked out and you can still have fun.
Cool.
So dental dams work.
I would like to talk about another aspect of safer sex that's not necessarily related to whether or not you get pregnant or get some sort of infection, and that's learning how to create limits and boundaries in advance. A lot of people have a hard time doing this. I still have a hard time. Like, the boy and I sometimes will, we discuss things a lot, but it's still hard to do sometimes. It's especially in the background that I have with, like, growing up in a really conservative home and everything. But what really helped me was writing it down. Like, write down what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, what you might be interested in trying, what you'd really like to try. Just like anything that pops into your head, write it down, and you can decide on your own time when to introduce those things. But really, it should be something that you discuss with your partners. And this is something that I have to say about the situations where, and it really helps. This isn't just about what type of sex you're interested or not interested in. It's also how you plan to be responsible in your sex with your partner. So some people, condoms are non-negotiable. Barriers are non-negotiable with some people. And so it's like, if that's going to be a non-negotiable thing, then write that down. That's important. Yep. With other people, they might say getting pregnant is absolutely off the table. A woman might say, I absolutely cannot be pregnant. If I get pregnant, I'm having an abortion, You
don't get a say in this.
You don't get a say in this.
That's what's going to happen.
And these are important discussions to have with somebody before you have sex with them. I'm not saying that, one night stands are completely off the table or anything. You can easily discuss these things with them, and it's best that you do.
Right.
But really, I so wish that we had better comprehensive sex education, or any, actually, in Texas.
Yeah, I do too.
Because true comprehensive sex education would include talking about your limits and boundaries with your partners.
Well, and shit that you need to talk about.
It is.
So many relationship problems stem from someone going in with one set of things that they think are always true, and the other person going in with a different set.
Exactly. I mean,
even when it comes to like monogamy, if you both agree that you want to be monogamous, you still need to establish what you consider monogamous to be.
I was just about to say that. I had an ex that was, like, towards the end of the relationship, suddenly he thought that me hanging out with guy friends by myself counted as a date, and that meant I was cheating on him, even though I wasn't being physical. Yeah. And this is something that, like, slowly started occurring. Like, it's not something that started out in the relationship. It just, like, slowly started happening. He started doing this.
More controlling.
Basically, well, he was being really controlling in that he was changing the rules of the relationship without telling me. And that's not okay to do. If you're in this part is for long-term relationships. The writing down what, talking about your limits and boundaries in sex can apply to long-term or short-term. But basically in long-term relationships, it's okay to talk about that type of stuff.
Yep.
And this was going to be my spiel when we talked about non-monogamy, actually. So I guess I could save it for another night. But
it's just the short version.
Yeah, it goes in with safer sex, because in the same conversation that you talk about what you consider monogamy, what you consider the rules of your relationship, you can talk about what you consider, what you want out of sex with that. And that's very important, because no two people are alike. So even if somebody is wonderful at pleasuring this person over here, that doesn't mean
they always are with everyone.
It doesn't mean doing the same things with this next person are going to do the same. I always really hated it in like TV shows and movies where they say, you got to teach me that sex move that all the girls love. I guarantee you.
What sex move do all the girls love?
Well, you put it in, then you pull it out a little, and then you put it in more, and then you pull it out more, and then you put it in more, and then you come and fall asleep on them. That's
Everyone knows that throwing a dick in a vagina makes women come, right?
Obviously. And that's something, too. I mean, it's really, this all comes down to communication. Communicate with your partners openly and honestly. And if you can't do that, then there's either that's something that you have to get comfortable doing if you're going to be having a sexual relationship with anybody.
Well, and going back on the whole masturbating in front of each other thing as a very safe form of sex, because there's no chance of getting anything in that situation, then you can show your partner how you get off so that they know, because not everybody knows how to get each person off.
Exactly.
So you need to know how to get you off so that you can help your partner get you off.
Communication doesn't stop as soon as there's a dick in something. That's not, or as soon as clothes are off. I should make this less heteronormative or less male-centric, I guess. Communication doesn't stop once horny time starts. You should continue communicating, or horny time might turn into, oh my god, this hurts time.
Right.
There are a couple positions that I don't like doing just because of, every woman's vagina and
other
orifices and whatnot. They're shaped. They're not all shaped the same. So not all positions work the same.
Not even every time are they shaped the same.
And not even every time. There are some positions that I've tried that I loved, and then the next time I tried it, I was like, holy shit, this hurts. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's something that I and my partner need to be able to communicate to each other. And I'm lucky enough right now, I have a great partner who is able to tell before I even say anything that something is making me uncomfortable or hurting. Like, I don't have, and that's something, I mean, we've been together for so long that he just can tell. But he wouldn't have been able to learn that if I hadn't communicated with him in the beginning, basically. You can't just, people can't read minds.
People can't read minds.
Speak up and do it often. Sex and speaking up.
Yep.
Do it often, or as often as you like.
Right.
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
Well, I guess we can do birth control if we want. There's a shit ton of different forms of birth control.
There's so much.
What are the most popular ones? We've got the pill, of course.
The pill.
And there's it's not the pill anymore. There's a ton of different medications and birth controls out there that are in pill form. So if one didn't work out, there's still different versions that might work out. So you should really go to Planned Parenthood if you're looking to see what form of birth control you want.
I'm on the Planned Parenthood's website right now. Just type in Planned Parenthood birth control, and it takes you to an entire page, an entire section of their website that discusses the different types of birth control, and how effective each one is, how each one tends to affect different people, how they're used, how you can get prescribed them, and it's pretty much talk with your doctor, plan it with them. If you're ever having any problems with your birth control, definitely go back to your doctor and try something new. It's just that not all of them work well for every person.
And Planned Parenthood is great. I mean, they even tried to push birth control on me even after I repeatedly told them I didn't have a uterus.
That's great in one way, but not great in another way.
Right.
So
they're like, what form of birth control are you on? Oh, I'm not on any.
Well,
here's all these different things that can work for you.
You should have said, it's like, what kind of birth control are you on? Well, the not having a uterus birth control works pretty well for me.
That's basically what I told them. I was like, I don't have a uterus. They're like, oh, well, did you have a hysterectomy? No, I've never had one.
I've never had one. Never existed.
There is zero chance of occupancy down here.
You have a no occupancy occupancy sign.
Yep, right here.
All right. But basically, to learn, I mean, there's so much birth control. That could be a whole episode on its own.
Right?
Really.
That is this episode.
Right? There's the NuvaRing, there's cervical caps, condoms, we've already talked about that, diaphragms, the female condom. There's different types of fertility awareness-based methods.
Mm-hmm. Which are not as effective.
Not as effective.
Spoiler alert, especially if your period's not regular.
And it also depends on what type you use. But again, that's the type that...
it's better than nothing.
A lot of people would like to use the fertility awareness methods in conjunction with their other methods, just because, especially if they're wanting to get pregnant at some time in the future.
It'll help them get pregnant quicker.
It helps you get pregnant faster if that's what you're wanting, when you know generally when you're ovulating and you understand your own cycle.
Yeah.
And also it's good to understand your own cycle, because then you can tell when there are problems. Then of course there's the morning after pill, the emergency contraception. There are spermicides, sterilization for women and vasectomy for men. The birth control sponge and Depo-Provera, which is the shot. Then there's the patch, there's an implant. There's
so many options.
I think I've listed about 15 different options, and I'm telling you, I could do a whole show on the different types of birth control.
So even if, not everyone likes hormonal birth control because there's lots of side effects that can go with it, and it doesn't always work with your brain chemistry, and you can gain weight, and there's all kinds of reasons to not like it. But there's other forms of birth control out there, so... And if you don't like the hormonal versions, then there's other options.
Really combining different forms, as long as you've talked about it with your doctor first. I wouldn't combine different forms of hormonal unless your doctor is okay with it. But like using hormonal birth control as well as fertility awareness, or as well as condoms, or as well as a diaphragm, all these things like work better if you're using it, if you're using more than one form.
And it's usually recommended that you have 2 different forms of birth control to make sure that shit doesn't happen.
And then if you still have a baby, you can introduce your baby as, this was my backup birth control baby.
Right. Chris actually, apparently his parents were on 2 different forms of birth control, and Chris happened. So did his sister.
He just really wanted to get born.
So that's fun.
All right. There was something else I wanted to mention.
Well, I guess...
or are we getting close on time?
Oh, no, we're good.
We're good?
I would throw out that, we didn't say it, but and I have a little joke that goes with it. Technically, abstinence is part of safer sex, but that's like saying not eating is a diet, so...
Not driving is safer than driving.
Yes, it is technically true that abstinence is a form of protection, but it's not a realistic one depending on the person. Like if you're asexual, you got it covered, done. But other than that, if you're gonna have sexual urges, then it's gonna happen, so you should prepare for what you'll do when, not if, it happens. Just want to throw that out there, because some people get butthurt if you don't mention abstinence as an option.
I want to talk about a few things that kind of all roll into one, and it's one is the tendency for some people to want to go out and get really drunk and hook up with somebody, which again, I'm not going to go on a tirade on the so-called hookup culture. That's mostly bullshit. But it also ties into histories of sexual and other abuse, and choosing partners that don't put the responsibility specifically on you. These all kind of tie in together. Basically, it has to do with it opens the door for abuse. I'm not going to say that every time you have sex while drunk, one or both of you were sexually assaulting the other. I think that's something that's, I can't make that blanket statement. But I can say that if you're so drunk or high that you really can't make a good judgment, like my way of putting it is, except for with the boy or with certain people I'm in long-term sexual relationships with, if I'm too drunk or high to drive, if I'm above the legal limit, I don't have sex. I just don't do it. Because if I can't drive, then I probably can't really consent. And if the other person is the same way, then they can't either.
Yep.
And the only reason I change it for long-term relationships is because specifically for me, in those relationships, we've already discussed this.
Yeah.
And usually, if sex happens at that point, then we've probably planned on it to happen that night, such as I make a good dinner and we share 2 bottles of wine, and we both know
where the 2 bottles of wine are heading.
We both know this is wine night. Just because I've been with them for so long, and we've communicated this with each other. But basically, I would tend to steer clear until you really know your partner of getting extremely drunk or extremely high and then having sex. Because you could either misjudge your own self or you could misjudge them. Like, you could end up sexually assaulting them because you're too drunk to notice.
And like you said, I have different sets of rules too for like...
Yeah, I have different sets of rules.
For like first time and like I have had sex with this person multiple times thing where I basically give implied consent if I've had sex with someone multiple times and I feel comfortable with them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if I say no, then, then stop.
Exactly.
But with people that I haven't had that experience with, it's still like, nope, I'm the same way.
I have broken that rule on a couple first times. But
I have too occasionally.
That was Skepticon. It's a Skepticon miracle.
Fucking Liz.
I wasn't going to bring her into this. But the only reason I did was because it was with people that I was comfortable with and that were also part of a very extremely, like, consent culture type of people who would explicitly take, like, they were explicitly asking for consent. Even though we were all pretty drunk. There was still plenty of talk of
consent.
Consent. It was, is this okay? Are you cool with this? Does this feel good? How far is too far? That conversation never ended in the sex, and it was still pretty awesome.
Yep. Skepticon.
And so this all ties into, and then when you choose a partner, if your partner is insistent that the safe sex is all your responsibility, especially if you're a woman and he's a man, just because of the power differentials that are inherent there in the society, I would probably steer clear of those people.
Yep.
Because they sound a lot like not only are they irresponsible themselves, but they also sound like they probably don't take care of themselves, because part of safer sex is getting tested. Part of safer sex is knowing what you like, knowing what the other person like, and understanding consent and boundaries and all those things. And if they're putting all that responsibility on you, then I guarantee you that if anything were to happen, they would not take any responsibility for any of those consequences.
I mean, Chris and I pretty much have a rule where when we were sexually exclusive, we got tested every year for STIs. Then it was whenever we introduced a new partner, we would get tested over a few times over the next few months to make sure everything was fine. And that's what we stick with now, is like, now we pretty much just get tested every 3 months or so, just to keep things clear. But, as more people were in our sex pool, or whatever you want to call it, we got tested more frequently, because that's what you do. Because knowledge is power.
And I kind of want to end this discussion on, because this one kind of ties in everything. Don't feel bad if you find talking about this stuff difficult. We've grown up in a culture that is heavily influenced by,
puritanical views of sex.
Those were the exact fucking words I was going to use.
Same.
Stop ending my sentences, Dory.
Finishing your sentences.
Same. Basically, we grow up in a culture where either talking about sex is naughty and dirty and you shouldn't do it, or you hear the flip side of that talking about sex just isn't romantic, or that nice girls don't. Well, you know what?
Fuck being a nice girl.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care about being a nice girl. And I really hate the construction of nice girl versus bad girl. It's the Virgina. Madonna whore dichotomy there. I don't know what I was trying to say. I have no idea.
The whole good girl, bad girl thing is basically the small child version of Madonna whore complex.
It really is.
It's just training you for that kind of thinking.
But here's the thing. If you practice, and again, if it helps, start with writing it down. Start with recording yourself into a tape recorder or something. Do those still exist, like actual tape recorders?
There's probably an app for that instead.
There's an app for that. Just don't put it on the cloud. Try to find ways to open up about these type of things. And if you're having a hard time opening up, there are loads of websites and counselors, and you can talk to your doctor about it to find ways to open up, because it really does.
Planned Parenthood had classes to help you with that
Planned
too.
Parenthood offers classes to help you learn how to open up about communicating about sex, because once communication opens, it
makes sex better.
It makes sex better. It opens the door, and also it makes sex safer. I cannot stress that enough. It makes it, especially if you're into any type of BDSM. Consent.
Yes.
That's the difference between BDSM and abuse.
There's consent.
There's consent.
And especially we could do a whole episode on BDSM culture, and we probably will with Caitlin.
I know.
At some point.
Caitlin, if you're listening, we've just drafted you for another episode.
She's becoming like a regular now.
Regular contributor.
Yep.
I love Caitlin.
She's a she-thinker.
Even though she has a creepy demon cat.
Demon cat versus troll cat. I guess that's
they enter the Thunderdome.
Yes. Two cats enter. Only one cat leaves.
Are we talking about cat brawling now?
Yes.
Wow. We're terrible people.
Yep.
All right.
We
and
should
on
probably
that,
end the show.
Once we start going into cat brawl territory, I think
that's when we know that we're inebriated enough. All right, be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Spreaker and Twitter.
I have a Twitter now.
Yes.
Follow me at DirtyNerdy2, because someone stole mine.
And you can follow us at Shethinkers. Yay.
Woo!
And you can follow me at Trans and Godless.
Yeah. I follow all three of us. Even though I'm one of them. And just spoiler alert, I talk about Minecraft a lot.
It happens.
So, yeah. Anyways.
All right. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. For your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/shethinkers. And now, in the interest of being fair and unbiased, here is tonight's counter-argument.
A lot of people have called us at Live Action brave and said, you're doing great work. But I want to tell you about a girl that inspires me, who I think is very brave, truly brave. Her name is Malala. You may have heard of her, from Pakistan. Malala is saying she would even want education for the Taliban's children. She's doing this for all people. And when we're doing this fight for the right to life, the most fundamental right for all children, we're not just fighting a partisan fight for the people on our side, whether they're conservatives or Republicans or whatever it may be. We're fighting for the future of everyone. We're fighting for Obama's daughters, President Obama's daughters, for his grandchildren. We're fighting for the grandchildren of Nancy Pelosi and the great-grandchildren. We're fighting for everyone, because all of us, even Kermit Gosnell, so disfigured by the abuses that he's been doing for many years now, locked up in jail, are made in the image and likeness of God. And we make the radical statement that we will fight for all of them, no matter the conditions of their conception, no matter the vulnerability that they're in, no matter the circumstances. We will fight for their right to life. We will fight for everyone's right to life, no matter what.
Why, it's that delightful TV leprechaun. I'm going to get your Lucky Charms. Oh no, my brains.
Lift me up, let me go, silvery. Planet smooth while you're lying next to me. Like the sun read it in a storybook that a telltale heart is well understood, and you couldn't do a thing for me. I'm much past help, you see. Hear that sound fly around the world on a balloon trip. Take my love, double it and triple it. Show my hand, it's not too bad, not too soft and not too hard. Miss me sweetly, I had you find me. Seesaw my toy store, never know what I'm looking for. Right on top of every wave the ocean makes. Right on top of every wave the ocean makes. Every breath the world takes.
Fucking Christ. God damn it, Tori. You gotta tell me when you make it
The
live.
music stops.
So when the music stops?
Yeah.
Alright, fine. So what's the Easter egg tonight?
We're gonna sing It's Consensual Outside by Chase Gregory.
Alright, I'm looking up the YouTube video on that.
Okay.
Here we go. To listen, because we haven't practiced this at all, and we're just like super
We're drunk.
and I'm not a singer. To listen to the better version, go to Chase Gregory's YouTube channel on YouTube, and it's titled Episode 4, Baby It's Consensual Outside, and Chase is great. They sing both sides of it, and it's really cute and awesome. So, all right, are we doing this?
Let's do our drunken version of it.
Oh,
Come on.
God. Drunken version. Don't laugh at me. Ready?
Yep.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Remember, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Thanks, baby, for stopping in.
so very nice.
Most wonderful, to be precise.
My mother will start to worry.
Oh, then you'd better hurry.
My father will be pacing the floor.
Let me walk you out to the door.
So really, I'd better scurry.
That's okay, please don't worry.
Maybe just a half a drink more.
Only if you're really quite sure.
The neighbors might think.
Baby, it's bad out there.
I lost my spot. Say, what's in this drink?
I'll pay for your taxi fare.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like starlight now.
To break the spell.
And here's your hat. Your hair looks swell.
I ought to say no, no, no.
Say it will end up closer.
At least I'm gonna say that I tried.
It's okay, I'll take it in stride.
I really can't stay.
Baby, I'll hold out.
'Cause
Oh,
it's
but it's
cold outside. You can tell I'm not a singer. I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is no.
Oh, good, I think that's your right.
This welcome has been
I'm lucky that you dropped in.
so nice and warm.
Look out the window at that storm.
My sister will seem suspicious.
I don't want to seem malicious.
My brother will be there at the door.
Waiting for the girl I adore.
My maiden aunt's mind is vicious.
Man, this feels repetitious.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
Say when I know how to pour.
I've got to go home.
Baby, don't freeze out there.
Say, lend me your coat.
It's up to your knees out there.
You've really been grand.
I totally understand.
But don't you see?
I know it isn't up to me.
There's bound to be talk tomorrow.
Here's some gloves you can borrow.
Thanks. At least there will be plenty implied.
It's not really mine to decide.
I really can't stay.
I trust you, there's no doubt.
And
it's cold outside.
Oh, baby, it's cold outside. Oh, baby, it's cold outside. I don't know how to harmonize when I'm drunk.
Fuck it, we'll do it
I
live.
just keep doing your line. Thank you, Chase Gregory, for writing that. It is amazing. And from now on, when I hear Baby It's Cold Outside, I'm going to hear these lyrics.
Yep.
And I'm going to subscribe to your channel and listen to more of you. You're awesome.
Yay.
Oh, and I actually found this because Greta Christina featured Chase on her blog. So, awesome.
Yay.